Hey guys, welcome back to the Sisters Show. I'm so excited to talk to you guys today about something that Athena and I talk about all the time when we're not recording.
So we decided, why not? Let's jump in and record.
Bring it to the people.
So what we're going to be talking about today is a topic that, well, I just turned 21, so it's very relevant to my life and really relevant, I think, in all of our lives.
Yeah.
But we wanted to kind of bring this topic up because I think the past few years being like sober curious or going fully sober has been something that a lot of people have been dipping their toes into and kind of experimenting with and trying. And I think it's a really interesting topic because there's so many different facets to this conversation about why do we drink? You know, what do we get from drinking? Is drinking worth it? Can I look the way I want drinking? Can I be successful drinking? And all these different things. And obviously we always are trying to be real and honest with you guys. And this is genuinely a conversation that me and Jackie have had
many times.
A lot of times, just being like honest and open with each other about
everything,
what it means. And would we ever consider going sober? And do we think that you can achieve the things you want to achieve in life while drinking? So, you know, we want this to, honestly, at least for me, I really want this to come from a place of like honesty and just being real. There's no judgment. Like if you drink, if you don't drink, I drink, she drinks, like we both drink. So this is not coming from a place of like, you are not healthy if you drink. It's really just us having a honest conversation, and, you know, anything we say can change in the future. So I think it's just about
we're all about the growth and the personal development journey. And like we've always talked about that we would be doing this podcast like when we're 100 years old, we're still going to be doing the podcast.
Yeah. And we have episodes where we drink on here. So like, please
this is our little time capsule.
This is not coming from that sort of place. It's really just, again, a conversation we've had many times. And I love learning and hearing about this topic as someone that cares about what goes in her body. Like I do think it's very interesting to talk about. So I kind of wrote down some like maybe like notes of just some things to think about when you know, like talking about this topic. I know that you did that book that I wanted to bring up. What was that book called?
It's like a 30-day, oh my gosh.
Sorry, I put you on the spot there, but I just remembered that you did that. No, it was like a challenge.
One of my friends recommended me, it's a 30-day alcohol-free challenge.
And it was kind of like a journal, right? Like going over, kind of asking yourself these questions of...
So good. You should link it down in the... Hold on, let me see. It's called The Alcohol Experiment, and it is by Annie Grace. And it's a 30-day alcohol-free challenge to interrupt your habits and help you take control. And it's honestly so good because she basically goes into it like, she's like, I'm not saying you have a problem or I had a problem, but like at the end of 30 days, you're either going to decide that you are sober curious, you're sober, or maybe you're going to go right back to it. But the way that she has it set up, which is so cool, is day one. And like it breaks down, like from a coach standpoint, it's gold, because the habits that you use in this book, I apply to my clients with food,
right?
Which we talked about this before, how this also has to do with like, we'll go over it, your habits and just like
your relationship
with food and just yourself and all that. But it's, I mean, she drops like, if I knew we were going to record this episode, I would have brought it with me, which is fine. But she'll go over what alcohol does to your brain, what alcohol does to your sleep, what alcohol does to your metabolism, and it's like every day that you're journaling, she's not trying to scare you. She's just shooting. You can't argue with facts, right? So it's like, oh, you know, why do we go for the glass when we're in social settings? Why do we feel like we need to have it at the end of the day with our kids? Like, and then you journal and go through all of it. Anyway, great book. Highly recommend it. It's great. So, all right. What was the first?
So I wanted to kind of talk about, firstly, like, what does alcohol mean to us? And, you know, when do we find ourselves like drinking alcohol? Because I think that what this conversation, in my opinion, boils down to is really what your relationship is with alcohol and how you view alcohol. Because I do think that there are multiple ways to view this substance that we have. And I think it does matter, because I think that it's completely relevant to our relationship with it and how often we drink and when we drink and who we drink around and what drinking causes us to do, what it brings out of us. So I do think it's important of like what alcohol means to us. So do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Sure, I'll go first.
All right, Jack will go first.
I'll put away my notes for later on. So basically, what does alcohol mean to me?
Yeah.
Well, this is interesting because I'm doing a little sober run right now. And then you have Sean, my husband, who does not drink. I think what alcohol has meant to me as I've grown and had children and all the things, it evolves with you.
Okay.
So alcohol to me was never a social thing, which we talked about this, and I know we'll talk about it here. And because I got married very young and had my first child young and the second child and third child, it was never like, oh, getting a drink with the girlies and, any of that. So for me in the beginning, alcohol was just something that I feel like, especially with us being Greek, like I'm cooking, I'm having a glass. Then I'm eating, I'm having a glass. By the time I finish my dinner, the bottle's gone. And it was like an enjoyable habit that I did like early on in my marriage. And then like I started having a glass of wine, like when I would get the kids to bed at night as like a little reward for mommy. Fast forward to being 37, 4 kids, teenagers. Now alcohol, it's still something that I enjoy. Like I'm a wine girly. Athena has tried to get me to be a tequila girly and I'm just not happening.
It's better for you.
I know. But I don't know. I feel like it's such a loaded question. Like, what does it mean to me? It means like relax time. Is that an okay answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think just kind of like, what do you view alcohol as? Like, you view it as a de-stressor. Like, it helps you decompress.
It's something I enjoy.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just even the de-stress. Like, I enjoy the glass of wine in my hand and taking a sip and like watching my favorite show or like pairing it with a food, like a red wine with a red meat, whatever. Right. I genuinely enjoy the whole thing. Like I like the taste. Yeah. I like how it just chills me out. Like the whole experience. Yeah.
Okay.
But that changed whenever Sean stopped drinking. Cause there was a period in our marriage when we had 3 under 4. 3 kids under 4 years old, which is insane.
That is insane.
3 under 4 or 5, whatever it was insane. And it was when we were in the pink house.
Yeah.
We would put all the little scatilitzis in bed and then we would grab a bottle of wine, him and I, and sit on the front porch listening to the waves. We lived really close to the ocean at that point. And it was like the most bonding, beautiful time. Like I have a lot of good memories sharing a bottle of wine with Sean and like coming in and like
I want to touch on that actually because I think that's really important to bring up. Like I also think our relationship around alcohol has a lot to do with memories that we tie it to. So like if you grew up with an abusive
alcoholic father
who was an alcoholic, of course your relationship with like
that's why I have like stuff about pot I'm not into because of
past experiences. And I think that's really important because someone who grew up or didn't grow up with that experience, you're going to view it completely differently.
Yeah, that's really important that you pointed that out.
And I think tying it to like you have so many positive memories of drinking with like Sean and
I had positive memories with Dad.
Yeah,
a lot of them. Like we would sit and everyone would go to bed and we would have
these,
wine,
like,
deep conversations, conspiracy rabbit holes, and God.
And I think that's really important to bring up because I think that kind of segues into what my answer was going to be. But I think that with obviously the right people, like it's enjoyable. It is enjoyable, and it's something that to me, for my answer of how I view alcoholic to me is kind of actually the opposite of yours, that I don't view it as like a kind of end of the day like treat. In fact, I actually like have never in my life come home and like pour myself a drink.
Oh, that's the best.
Like I've never done that. I'll do it like
when I finish working and I walk downstairs from my home office, like it's a whole mind F because I'm like, pour that glass, baby.
Yeah.
Like it's like
no, I get that. I just, for me, like I will only do that if I know I'm
with you.
If I'm with, right. Like if Jackie's here, like we'll do that. Or if I know I'm going to like go out, like tonight I'm going to go out. So I'll probably, when we're done filming and we go to the mall and I get my Christmas party outfit, I'll come home, make myself a drink. I'm going to go out.
Like what kind of drink?
Like a margarita or like some sort of cocktail. And
where are we going?
well, we're going to possibly this like Christmas bar down the street, and then I'm going out to dinner with friends.
Oh, that'll be
after.
fun.
So like, to me, that is a time that I would want to drink. I don't want to drink after I've had like a long stressful day and I'm coming home. Like, I just want to have tea and go to bed. Like, so I guess.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I guess like to me, maybe it's because of the type of alcohol too. Like, to me, when I think of wine, I do feel like it's more of like when my friends came over the other night, we like had a glass of wine and it was very like relaxing. Like, I'm not getting blacked out, but I'm just like sipping on a glass, like sitting here talking. So maybe it's because like the type of alcohol too, like has an effect on how you feel from it. I don't know. But to me, it's a very social, like, I just want to sit and have a margarita and get a little tipsy and like open up about life. And it's not that I need it to enjoy myself. Like, there's plenty of times I go out and I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like drinking tonight. Like, you've seen me, like, there's times where I'm like, I just don't feel like it. But in general, that is the setting in which I feel like, okay, let me order a drink. Let me have a drink, you know? So to me, that's kind of how I view it. And it's just a very, you know, if I'm with people and we're doing stuff, we're going to go dancing, we're going to do this, we're going to go watch a baseball game, like, let me get a drink. So that to me is kind of how
like it's very tied for you with social stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which is funny that it's kind of opposite.
I think it's opposite for parents. It's completely opposite. I think it has something.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're not going out as much when you have the kids, whatever.
Yeah.
So like, I think that like once you hit parenthood, it goes from being, which I know a lot of parents still go out and do all that. So maybe Sean and I are the freaking weirdos. I don't know.
I don't think it's weird. I just think it's your life. Like, it's just a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we're huge home buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so going back to like enjoying those, like if Sean was here right now, he'd be like, oh man, those were the best times when we would sit together because we would talk about such deep things and it was so nice and it was like a way to reconnect. But that, you have to be so careful because that one thing turned into, we were doing it every night. Then we were doing it like, then it's like you start to do it at like, oh, the kids are still up, so now I'm drinking while they're still awake. And like, there's times where I can remember that like Sean and I'd be like, let's not even touch alcohol till the kids go to bed because like we didn't like how we were like, I don't know. It's just, yeah. So let's go to this. Like, why am I not drinking right now? So this time of year for me, from November to like the new year,
holidays,
is super trauma. And I think a lot of people have a lot of holiday trauma around this time of year. Like, I'm pretty sure suicide rates are like the highest.
Yeah.
You know, between Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year. So for me, I'm always trying to figure out why people do what they do. And I'm constantly, I know you're the same way, like studying myself and like coaching myself.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I know I drink a lot during this time of year and I don't want anything to ever have control over me.
Yeah.
Not Sean, not alcohol, not a boss. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I just looked at Sean and I was like, I don't even know why I picked 21 days. I was just like, I'm just not going to drink for 21 days. And like, yeah. So like, what is it? The 13th, I haven't had a sip of alcohol for 13 days. So we're at like the 2-week mark and I feel great. But like for Sean, not that I would ever tell his story, it was something that like it creeps into your life and it's something that you have to have, and then you're drinking it earlier and this and that. And you think about like as parents, like being hungover on Christmas morning. Like, I know there's a mother right now listening to this podcast that knows exactly what I'm talking about. Here, your kids, I mean, we were just talking about Yanni in 4 years is going to be 18. And I'm like, what? And how many of those Christmases I was pushing back a migraine because I had too much wine. Why? Because I need to reward myself like a toddler as I'm wrapping the presents. And then my kids are making these memories. Or what about like, this is a huge pet peeve of mine, is these fucking soccer moms that fill up their like
their Stanleys
and
go on their
and they're like bragging about like, oh my gosh, this is a mom hack. And I'm like, you fucking loser.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I guess I have shade to throw because
no, I mean, I'm not even a mother, and I'm like, that is despicable behavior.
Like the cul-de-sac, the blue house, all the moms would like gather in the cul-de-sac with their like whatever they were drinking and their kids. They hate their life. They hate their marriage. They're talking shit about their husbands. They they look like shit because they probably starved all day. Like the mom diet is like you eat your crumbs of your kids' food, and then it's like, oh, 4:00, let's go meet the other friends and like drink and talk shit about our lives. Like I don't like, I'm not, that's not.
Because I think what it does though boil down to is like an utter like just unhappiness with yourself and your life, so you're using it as like a band-aid to make yourself feel better for the night and like de-stress and feel like, oh, for now like everything's fine, when in reality you have a lot bigger fish to fry and a lot bigger problems. Like if you're unhappy in your marriage, you're unhappy with your life, your kids, your whatever it may be, that's like a serious issue that needs to be solved.
Yeah.
You know?
And that is not, it's a band-aid.
Right.
And so with me, I just wanted to really feel my feelings and like replace that nightcap with a healthy habit, whether it's walking, whether it's, you know, making a mocktail with magnesium. Like you can replace, because we're like, I don't want to say we're animals, but like you get into that habitual thing, and like it's hard to break habits. Like my job is literally teaching my clients how to break your freaking habits and unfuck them. So from a humility standpoint, like the first 3 days of me not drinking, like I was like, oh my gosh, like do I have a problem? Because like I was like, wait, because I was just telling Athena this too. I don't have an addictive personality at all. So like I smoke, believe it or not, from my voice now, I smoked cigarettes when I was in high school, and like I just woke up one day, I was like, ew, why am I doing this? And I just stopped.
You got like the ick from yourself.
Literally gave it to myself. And then like with drinking, same thing. Like I'll look at Sean and be like, I'm not drinking. He's like, yeah, okay. And then like I just don't drink. But I will say like the first 3 days were really hard.
Yeah.
Just like the first 3 days of any new habit.
Right. I was going to say, I don't
really
even think it's necessarily correlated to just alcohol. It's with anything like that. If you're used to doing something and you switch it up, of course you're going to go through that. I want to kind of talk about too, kind of what our thoughts are on like the whole sober movement. And as like you're way in the health space, and I consume a lot in the health space, so we're constantly seeing you know, a lot of people are going fully sober or sober curious and going like very long periods of time without drinking and that type of thing. So like our thoughts on that movement, and kind of, we've talked about this before because we just talk shit about everything. And like one of my biggest pet peeves, and I know you'll relate to this too, is like, yes, there's such a thing as educational content, but there's a difference in the way you can deliver something to like shame people and be like, you can't, you know, care about your health and drink on the weekends. Like you can't tell people to, you know, have steps and exercise and do all this if you're drinking. And that's just not okay. Like you can't just go on the internet and make people feel like they're not worthy of something just because they're doing this. So it's like, oh, you're gonna not consume artificial dyes, but you're gonna drink. Like you're so dumb. And I don't think that's okay. And I think there's so much nuance to that conversation of drinking and still allowing yourself to be healthy and like work out. And I think it is a balance. And so I think for me, I'm very turned off by certain people that will come on and be like, you can't do this and drink, or I don't like that. I think wording, because to me, I'm like, I don't really feel like you're trying to help or share your experience. I think you're just trying to make people feel like shit, honestly.
Yeah, I call it the soapbox. Yeah. Like, get the frick off your soapbox. And I think that goes for any kind of, like, for instance, homeschooling. Mm-hmm. Not to go off topic, but we do that a lot. People get so gung-ho, and I've been her, like, where I'm like, whatever it is, whatever topic, like, I think that we need to be careful, because like if I was to say homeschool, people who don't homeschool don't give a fuck about their kids. Like that's basically what these influencers are saying when they say, oh, you're a health coach or you care about your health, but like you drink. Well, it's all like, no, that's not how life works. And what works for my family won't work for another family, and what works for, but at the end of the day, like, especially with having a sober husband, Sean hasn't touched a drip of alcohol in 3 years, and I love wine. He gets on a soapbox, and it's happened before where he's like kind of, because like I think that's kind of like when, especially when you're battling your own demons, those people that are that gung-ho about it probably closet want to eat junk food or drink. Like I think ultimately it comes down to them and they're like everything else, it's their own issues. If someone is super defensive when they hear that I homeschool, that's a them problem.
Right.
I didn't say that public school sucks. I didn't say that private school sucks. I didn't say that my way was the only way, but you hear I homeschool and now you're all fucking like panties in a twist. Like that's how I view it with health stuff.
Yeah.
Like when you have a vegan that's like staring at you as you fucking eat your steak, like like get off your soapbox.
Yeah.
And your way can't be the best way and only way for everyone. That's why, like, that's the beauty of living in a diverse country and having freedom. And so
it's a lot of, I think, projection too. Like,
oh yeah,
it's just
the mirroring where they're like,
and there's one thing with like having a healthy debate or talking, but like if I don't ask for your opinion, it's probably because I don't want to hear it and I don't want it and I don't really care. So I just think there's a very fine line of like,
it's dangerous. You can't say never, and you shouldn't. Again, I've been bold with my platforms, and like as I've grown, I've changed how you deliver the message. Like, because when someone goes on their TikTok and they're like, if you drink, you're like, you're an
I'm gonna swipe right by that. Let me tell you. I will swipe right by. And it's not that, I mean, I'll speak for myself at least. Like, it's not that I don't want to hear it, right? Like, I have listened to many, like, Huberman Lab did like a 3-hour episode on alcohol and the effects it has on your brain. And like, I will be sat and listening to it. But I think that there is a difference versus someone coming on and just being like,
I'm better than you.
I live my life to my fullest and you don't because I don't drink. And I'm present for experiences.
That's
like,
a them thing.
Who are you to tell me that you're living life fuller just because you know, don't partake? And so that's where I kind of get very like, I don't even want to conversate, because if you're going to come at me with that type of mindset, I don't really want to be around people like that, you know, with that type of mentality and like projecting your, not insecurities, but like defensiveness, I guess. Like, I don't need you to prove to me that, like, I don't care what you do, you know?
Literally.
So I think that's kind of the mentality I have, and I think it's unfortunate because maybe more people would be curious in that lifestyle if people didn't come across so damn
it's almost
aggressive.
It's giving like Reformed Baptist.
Like it's giving all or nothing, you know.
It's giving like dotting every T and I to the perfect degree, and these people, like, I guarantee they have like red dye in their closet with like seed oils. Like, the other thing I want to say as a nutrition coach and health coach, like, no one lives perfect. No one. Not one person. I know people who never drank in their life or smoked and they die of lung cancer. So like, if like, I'm not saying YOLO by no means, but like, chill the fuck out and worry about you, babe. Like, that's how I feel about that. But let's go here. Okay. So the Sober Curious movement and like people talking about it, I love the conversation.
Agree.
I love, like you said, like listening to like Huberman or just anyone talk about it. Jenna from Agent Natur, who that's her company, she has done many blog posts about being sober curious. And, you know, I think too, as I get older in my old age, it's like, I'm like, but why? Like that's the thing too. It's like, it's not at 21. And by the way, like at 37, I can still hang as far as drinking goes, but it's just like, going back to like the Christmas being hungover or the day after Thanksgiving being hungover, like, it's not fucking worth it. Like, there's something so hot, and I mean this not even towards just like men, but like women too, of people that can just raw dog life. Like, I find that like where I am in my personal development journey, I'm not like, if you're human and you don't add value to my life or help, like, this sounds so mean.
I don't think it's mean.
Like, I don't want you in my life if you're just like a loser. No, but like, if you are not making my life experience and helping me be better and adding to my life, and that could be food, movement, a person, like, why? Like, I feel like life is short. What am I fucking doing here? Type of thing. And
agree.
Discipline will get my panties off. Like, I find that so hot. It's hot. I don't know. Like, do you find that hot?
I do. And I think it's also obviously like very dependent on like the person. Like, if someone has like an actual addiction, like that's its own situation. And I think I guess to me, like, discipline can be very, because, like, does discipline necessarily mean it's like zero completely? Or what if discipline is like, I can drink 1 day a week and stick to that for the rest of my life? Like, that to me is also considered discipline. Or if you say, I'm going to wake up at
5 a.m.
for 3 days of the week and you stick to it. So I guess that's kind of my approach to it, is like, stick to what you think is going to be best. So, like, if your view is, you know, I don't want to drink a bottle of wine every night, or I don't want to go through a bottle of tequila every 2 weeks, like, stick to that and create a plan that
habit,
create a plan and a habit that you can actually stick to. Maybe you're the type of person where cutting things out cold turkey is the only way that you can stick to something. Is I'm never gonna touch that vape again ever for the rest of my life. Done. Close the story, end of story. But I think that's where I get kind of like, I don't know, the thought of being like, I'm never going to drink again a day in my life. Like, that's kind of like
depressing.
That freaks me out. Like, to me, I'm like, I'd rather take things as they come. Like kind of how you're saying as you're getting older, you're kind of real. And as Sean stopped too, you're like, okay, like maybe now I'm realizing that there's less times that I want to drink, and I don't need to do it on, you know, just because we went on a date, I don't need to drink. And that type of thing I think is healthy.
The sexy thing too is like, I'm attracted to me. Like, I like when I like a lot of the neuroplasticity in our brains and people feeling depressed or anxiety and not hitting the goals is that we don't follow through. So nothing is worse for your self-esteem and your health goal or your business goal than not fucking doing what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
And I hate that shit. And I'm guilty of it. We all are at certain points in our life. And so the discipline for me, like, I like that. I love that, like, because Sean's like, let's go for a golf cart ride. And he looked at me. This guy's, hi, my name's Jackie and I'm an alcoholic. No, obviously a joke, but like, that's what it feels like. Because Sean said to me, he was like, we're going to go on the golf cart. Well, I associate the golf cart with
a drink,
a bevy. Bev. Yeah. So he's like, it's going to be hard for you. And I was like, shut up.
Him and his comments, man.
Oh, Sean, who's listening, he is the worst.
It's 11:11. Make a wish. Okay.
Yeah. So he's the worst. Yeah. Sean, you're the worst.
And the thing about Sean is that he'll pour your drink and give you a little, he'll be like,
he enables you.
You're gonna drink.
You'll walk away. You're gonna
be so hungover tomorrow.
Yeah.
As it's getting poured in.
No, the worst is he'll fill my cup when I go to the bathroom and I'm not paying attention. And then like next thing you know, you're drunk. Like, that's twisted.
Wait, we should tell this story really quickly of, I don't know what house this was even at, but when Daddy was filling Yaya's cup. And
sorry.
So our grandmother.
Our grandmother. Yaya.
I don't know what house this was at. Was it pink?
Yeah.
Okay, so like, what was this?
Guys,
like
I had a pink house in one of my eras. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, it was one of the nights that we were all down. I was a literal child, so like, I just heard of this story. But our Yaya we were all sitting, everyone, you know, we probably ate dinner, drink, whatever. Everyone was having their wine. And our Yaya gets very, you know, you got some crazy drunks, you get some angry drunks, and then you have the crying drunks. So
she's the crier.
She's a crying drunk. Like 2 drips and she's literally sobbing. Okay?
Sobbing.
So our father would keep pouring, and you know, once she's half a glass deep, like she doesn't know what's going on. He kept pouring and pouring the glass. She would turn. He poured. She would go to the bathroom. He would pour. And next thing we know, like,
she's
this
like
poor
a bottle,
woman is like a bottle deep.
Red wine.
She has no idea what's happening. I mean, she was probably drunk for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
And it was just so funny because she was unwell and crying and like just tears coming down fully, and she didn't know why, because she was like, I only had half a glass.
Here she is, the poor woman, thinking she had like half a glass, and it was literally the bottle
that kept getting refilled. Anyways, that was really funny because it made me think of our family just does that, just pours and pours and pours, and it's like, didn't know I asked for this, but here we are.
Right.
Anyways, back to what we were saying. I don't remember exactly what tangent we were on.
We're always on some. So James, what are you doing? Go in the room.
Face.
So hold on, where were we though?
Sober Curious movement.
Sean being
Sean enabling.
I don't know.
I don't know either. All right. Well, I'll just make a random point, and then we'll just continue.
All right. And start.
Okay. So one thing that I feel like we have talked about a lot is like, do we think that you can reach, like your best self or your most successful self with drinking? And I think this is a really interesting question because I guess unless you've drinking and then stopped for a while and then I guess like done a controlled study on yourself. I don't know, because it's kind of hard to like, how do you credit, I'm more successful and it's because of that? I don't know. But I guess that's kind of what we think about and kind of how we go about it as far as like in the future, if we would ever consider going sober.
Yeah, like she's low-key been like, do you think you would ever not drink?
Yeah, I've asked her that. Because it's just, I think it's a really interesting question because I think it gets down to like, wait, like, why do I drink and could I ever like live without it? Which maybe some people are listening to this and being like, you guys are both alcoholic drunks, and we're not. But I think like this is a very real thing. Like most people
it's so
drink,
real. Yeah.
And I think that.
Well, okay, like fuck the alcohol. Let's talk about like any substance that you're using. Because I got a lot of clients that are.
Have you heard of the thing that like where they say like Christians are addicted to caffeine?
You mean like the Mormons?
Like, no, not just Mormons. Like, a lot of Christians that, like, won't drink or smoke, like, they're addicted to coffee, though. And it's like, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Like, you need... Because a lot of them will say, like, I need coffee. This is a complete side note. I hope this is not offensive. But they'll be like, I need coffee to function. Which, like, we say as a joke. But, like, if I had to cut coffee out for a week, I could.
Yeah.
But it's also a substance. Caffeine is an addictive substance as well.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was a side note because I wanted to just throw some shade. If you don't drink or smoke,
no,
you're addicted to caffeine.
Well, I want to talk to the gummy takers out there and the THC people, which, again, do you, boo? But like, replace us talking about sober curiosity and the glass of wine or the tequila with whatever you do when you want to take the edge off, whatever you're doing when you get the kids in bed at night, that thing, that is the same as what we're talking about.
Right.
I want to just
and I would also like to say to all the people that are extremely like judgmental about it is our phone screens. Also, like dopamine is a huge, we're all addicted to dopamine and we all have an issue with that. So it's also like, it's again, one of those things where people pick and choose when they want to be critical of everyone else, but like we all have our vices and we all have things that we turn to when we're looking to like,
well, like for Sean, working like healthy things can also become
100%.
So he's
100%.
like psychotic about working out, and he just look, at the end of the day, the kind of personality that I have, I just don't. I said this to you before off the record. The way I view alcohol right now is, what the fuck is it adding to my life? And is it worth what it's adding? Is that gummy at night or whatever it is you do, mom or not mom, my sister that's listening, like, is it making me a better mom the next day? Is it making me a better wife the next day? Am I so clear-headed and ready to kick ass throughout my day for my business? Like, I said this to you before. I don't know. I'm not saying completely sober. I'm not saying Sean. But like Andy from First Form doing that reel talking about like, I don't know anyone that's like, drinks. It's not that they drink, period. He was saying drinks heavily. High, top performing, top 1% of humans out there that I want to be. Call me fucking crazy. They don't have vices like this. They are constantly on their personal development journey and they are conquering them. I'm not saying they didn't have a vice. I'm not saying that they don't, like, I'm not saying they live perfectly, but if you find yourself in the same cycle of numbing and using this crutch, the CBD gummy or the bottle of wine or whatever it is, it could be porn. People are addicted to porn. Forget about it. That's a whole podcast episode.
Yeah.
Like you said, the dopamine nation that's on your, nightstand right now. So I just don't see, and I said this, I guess Sean, you're gonna hear it. I truthfully don't see myself if I want to get, and this is not like God's punishing me for drinking wine. For me right now, 37 years old, on the record, I'm gonna say, when I walk onto my pink jet at 55 that my son is flying, chartering to the Bahamas, and have like a multi-7-figure successful coaching business, that woman, I don't see her drinking. I don't see her drinking.
Okay.
I'm not saying, and maybe I should rephrase that too, she sure as fuck doesn't use alcohol as a crutch. Okay. She definitely has crazy discipline around it. Because the thing that we're also not talking about from a health standpoint, not judging, hi, I just told you I drank a bottle of wine, is alcohol stays in my body and affects everyone so differently.
Yeah.
But like, let's talk about cognitive function. Let's talk about how clear I'm thinking when I'm getting on my coach calls with my clients. The ideas, and I have such a creative brain, are just like flowing out of me right now. And so that's why I'm tying, again, not God punishing you because you drink. I'm tying like my highest self to the alcohol, and they don't go together. I want to get giggly gaggly and I want to pour a glass of wine, and like what you're doing tonight sounds so fun. And like, it's Friday in my mind right now. I'm mind effing myself. Like, I want to stop on the way home. I want to get a bottle of Santa Margarita. I want Sean to make me some yummy food, and I want to just chill and have my wine. But like, am I making sense?
You are.
Like, I just don't think it's worth it. I don't know. Like,
but I think that's the beauty of like it being kind of, I guess, like a journey.
It's a personal journey.
And assessing like different points of your life are going to require different levels of
yourself and your discipline. And
exactly.
Like I said, if someone said to me, Jack, whatever you deem to be success, whoever's listening to this, for me, it's, no mortgage, a successful marriage, 4 sons that want to actually come home, when they're adults and see me. It's, 0 debt. It's living comfortably. It's raising God-fearing. Like, though I have a lot of obviously things that go into my success, but like that success, I just don't see alcohol
involved.
Not that I'm not going to have a glass of wine with my son, or like, I don't know what I'm trying to say to you guys. It's just like,
it's okay, but you don't have to know. Like, I think that if you get to a point in your life where you're like, this literally makes no sense for what I'm trying to do, like you would know, And I think like you doing these little mini like experiments and just seeing like, oh, okay, I'm waking up earlier and I'm feeling ahead of my day a little more. And I think those things are so good for you. And I think I think the type of people we are is like, you're not going to shame us into doing something. You're not going to be like, oh, well, you do this and not that.
And you're not going to tell me to do something either.
So I think that's the beauty, not to sound so cliche, the beauty of like
your own
being
journey,
on your own journey is like, no, I don't think you should sit here and be like, oh, when all my kids drink, like I'm never going to have a drink. Like there's no point in even holding yourself to that because you don't know. But I think the fact that like you're open to, there might be a point in my life where I'm like, this doesn't really serve me. It adds no value. And I don't see myself really partaking in that. Like, that's beautiful. And I think that it makes sense. And
well, also like think about this too. It's like, can I enjoy sex as much without wine? Like, these are like the things that go through my mind. Like, I haven't drank for like, can you let your inhibitions down with your husband? My workout goals, right? Like what I was touching on is my Oura ring says my heart rate's elevated for 1 week after I have one alcoholic beverage, one freaking week. And I don't know about y'all, but I want to live to be 135. So like, that's where I'm just like, as I mature, I'm just like,
I think tying to that, like one of the biggest things I would say, if you're someone listening and like you've thought about this or whatever, is try cutting it out of your life for a period of time and see what areas of your life it affects, because I feel like doing that will tell you.
Journal. That's
doing
smart.
that will tell you like what areas if you are numbing something that you're numbing, and I think that like you knew the holidays are a time where you tend to drink more because you tend to want to cover up maybe how you're feeling. And I think allowing yourself to feel like that's what makes us human is feeling experiences and feeling emotions. And you have to be able to face that head on and not cover it or mask it with some sort of substance or thing or whatever it is, whether it's alcohol or weed or I don't know, whatever it is, just scrolling to get away from life, like whatever it is.
Because that's I get why you brought up the freaking caffeine thing, is if you're sitting here listening saying, oh, I have this all figured out because I don't drink and I don't whatever. All of us have a vice in our life somewhere.
We all have something that is abused, and it could be work. Like, there is such a thing as making work your idol and letting it consume your life. And so that, I guess, is kind of, as I'm talking through, like what I'm thinking of is we all have something that we not necessarily have a problem with, but we all have something that we use to alleviate some of these stresses of life. And you need to be able to know that you can at least face those stresses head on rather than
because you're still, when you're done drinking or you're done taking your gummy or you're done whatever your dopamine hit is
still there,
like you still have that problem. And so if you're truly on the journey of your higher self and, you know, working on yourself, because that is a sign of being alive. Being stressed is a sign of being alive. I heard a reel the other day, and I've been telling my clients this: you want to know when you're not stressed? When you're fucking dead. Because billionaires down to poor folk, we all have stresses in our day.
And it's about being able to handle it and deal with it. How am I recuperating myself? How am I handling this stress?
Super convicted, guys. As a mom of 4, many hungover Christmas mornings, many things that like Sean, when he first got sober, he was like, I was drunk for this last year, or I was whatever. And he straight up told me, my husband, pushing 40, didn't grieve fully his father's death, which
that's insane.
His father, I want to say it's 8 years, and Sean's been sober for 3 years. So Sean told me recently, I didn't fully grieve and face that until I stopped touching alcohol. And that's wild. That's very wild. And you want to know what that does to your body from a holistic standpoint when you don't allow those emotions to process through. Everything we feel and everything we suppress always manifests in the physical. Breast cancer, anxiety, liver issue, like it literally, like go to Chinese medicine, like go look it up for yourself. Like everything is connected. It's all energy. Dr. Casey, another freaking amazing book I recommend is Good Energy. If you haven't heard about it, it's so freaking good. She's literally
I haven't read that
a doctor who left her field, like a surgeon, and like she ties every sickness and everything back to energy. And this isn't a woo-woo bitch. She's a doctor. Like,
I think this is important to touch on because I think there's a lot of people that may look at, like all that self-help stuff is so cringe and like personal development is so cringe, but it's not just about like, I'm better than, like that's not what it's about. It's about like everything, like you just said, is correlated. And I think as we both like grow and get older and have new experiences in our lives, like you need to be able to deal with things head on and see, okay, this situation is affecting me in this way. Why am I responding in this way? What am I using to mask it? Or how am I going to heal myself from this? And so everything is correlated, everything is related. And so for those people that may be like, this is woo-woo, like it's not. And it's also intertwined, and you have to care. You have to care, because I think it's so selfish not to care and just think that everyone's gonna just take care of you when you start deteriorating because you never cared to take care of your mind as well as your body. So I mean, like you have to care. And you know,
I mean, every cell of our body is listening to the thoughts that that we're saying, I'm fat, I'm unhealthy, I'm this, I'm that. And so going back to the energy and the personal, okay, so can't we also say that sanctification is pursuing your highest self in regards to, I know some Christians would say we're selfish because we care about ourselves, but like, if I'm not selfish with like 3% of my day, I am a terrible wife. I'm not a good mom. And the other thing about the sober curious movement and how I'm feeling is, why am I like a toddler and need to reward myself for just like
existing?
That's literally the mind thing that parents are doing. It's like long day at work. Bobby's in bed. I did my thing. Now let me go to this vice. Let me go watch porn. Let me go take a gummy. Let me go drink my alcohol.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I want to raw dog my life. I want to fully
get that on a shirt.
Raw dogging life on repeat. And I feel like part of me not raw dogging my life.
Oh my gosh, we need to like have a notes of all the slogans we've said on episodes and make it into merch. I'm gonna write that down.
Raw dog life, babe.
Yeah, because that's really good.
No, but like I want to fully be aware and present when I have an orgasm with my husband, not be like buzzed. You know?
Yeah.
But by the way, I love a good buzz, sexy time. I'm not like, you know, you guys get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm never gonna say never. I just
And that's why I opened this up by saying like maybe in 10 years from now we'll make an episode and Jackie will be sober. Like I don't know, and that's why this conversation is open. Like,
naturally, I'll bring everyone along.
We're not putting a period on the conversation. Yeah. Like it's very much fluid, and that word is like odd, fluid.
Moist.
Yeah, it's an odd word. I don't know why.
Moist is weird.
Anyways, it's a very fluid conversation though, as far as like there isn't a dead stop solution. It's just this is how we are looking at it right now, and I don't know, man. Like it's open ended, and I just hope that this helps people just think about whatever it may be. Maybe it's not alcohol, maybe you don't drink, or whatever it is, or maybe it is alcohol, and just thinking about why you do certain things and what it's doing to your real true emotions and your real true life experience as a human. Because I know for sure I don't want to look back at my life and feel like, wow, I missed out on a lot of experiences because I was hungover or dead or drunk the whole time that I couldn't, you know, function. So I guess, which there is a time and a place for a good blackout here. We've both experienced that. So again, this is not coming from a high horse.
No.
But I guess that's the beauty of this conversation, and I think it was a really good conversation, honestly. And I would really love to hear other people's thoughts and views on alcohol. I know a lot of people probably have even worse experiences, I guess, with like maybe people around them and alcohol. So I think that plays a huge part in it, because I think if you grew up and you correlate those two things, like that's a big thing.
Yeah,
I can imagine. So I think there's just a lot of factors in the conversation. But
yeah, and I think like with anything else, when you have that drink, when you take that THC gummy, when whatever the thing is that like you could be maybe turn into a problem in the future, or isn't it, whatever. I'm not trying to say it's a problem, but like anything, even good things can become addictive. And just be like fully there and present, like on this journey of being the best humans and mothers and women and sisters and aunties and everything that we can be. Why am I drinking? You know, literally I coach myself as I'm going throughout my day, like fully being present of like, okay, I had the glass, now let me have water. Like know that, you know, alcohol dehydrates your ass, and like if you don't like how puffy you look in the morning, like you need to drink water. So trying to counteract because like half the time there's been times in my life where I'm trying to counteract the poison, because alcohol is poison,
right?
Then you detox. That's why you don't feel good. That's why your body has that natural response of a hangover, you know, and then it's messing with you neurologically as well, your health goals, your weight goals. Like I will say this, I correlate successful people with successful bodies. Mm-hmm. I know that is unfucking popular opinion, but if you can't get your house in order, the only motherfucking thing that you can actually control, it's not your husband, it's not your boss, it's not the economy and who's the president, not, you know, Trump daddy, right? If I can't control and work out and what I'm drinking, I don't want to be your business partner. I don't really respect you as far as like, I'm not saying, because I've been there. I have had seasons where I'm not taking the best care of myself. But as a whole, you got to get your shit together. You get one home, you get one, I'm not talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Like this is the one body we get. And then by the time you wake up, it's too late. Because there does come a point where it's too fucking late. And so I don't know. There's red flags for sure with drinking for me that I see in myself. I see the patterns. I've seen it, you know, like if you're like, oh, I just had to drink. My in-laws were here. Well, let's unfold that onion.
Yeah.
Like, why did you have to drink? Because your in-laws were there. Let's talk through that. Like, you know, and just really like working through it. And I don't know, like you're going to go have a great time tonight and there's nothing wrong with that. And your liver enzymes are probably perfect. And, you know, and next weekend I'm allowed, mind you, I gave myself this 21 day, like I'm going to have a glass of wine, but like I was telling Athena, maybe I'm going to have a bottle, let's be honest, but like maybe I'm going to just drink out. Like I'll make Sean take me on a date night once a week or something and not I don't know what it looks like. Like you said, this is open-ended.
Right.
So stay tuned. Like we're not judging you, but like let's talk through this. Why do we drink? Why are we numbing?
Yeah.
Why? Like why?
That is what I think the core of the conversation boils down to, in my opinion, is that what you just said. And you have to, no matter what it is, you have to confront that.
You have to face it. It's still going to be there when you freaking wake up.
Yep. And it'll feel even worse with a hangover. So let me tell you.
So I pulled this up and I just want to go through it. I thought it was pretty interesting. So alcohol or substance red flags. It feels like the best or only way to relax or to soothe difficult emotions.
Okay. Should we do like a checklist of ourselves if we feel that way?
Prioritizing drinking or the substance over other commitments. That's a red flag.
That's a very red flag. Is this like red flags in men? Is this like if this guy does this? All right, let's do it that way. I think my whole nipple came out.
Feeling uncomfortable when someone else doesn't drink.
No, I think that's no.
Constantly looking for or coming up with reasons to drink, which I talked about this. It's like, oh, it's my birthday. Okay, like, you know, I had a hard day at work. This happened. It's like, then next thing you know, you're
every day is an occasion. I got through work.
Frequently drinking until blacking out.
No.
Having to justify your drinking to yourself or others.
I'll only justify it if you come at me. Okay.
Only surrounding yourself with people who are also heavy drinkers or who won't criticize you and your substance.
I mean, yeah. I mean, not on purpose, but
lying about how much you drank.
No.
And hiding empty. That's an addict.
Hiding, yeah.
Whew, that's a bad one.
That's scary.
And then your relationships revolve around drinking.
Okay.
And then not being able to stop once you start.
Okay.
So those are some of the red flags.
That's a pretty solid list, honestly.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to kind of, I guess, evaluate the presence of alcohol in your life and maybe be real with yourself about how much of an effect it does have on you. And, you know, if you're hiding the bottles and...
I see so many non-drinkers. There's a lot of shade thrown from the THC moms over to the drinking moms.
Oh.
You know how we talk about the clubs that I don't fucking associate with?
Yeah.
They're throwing them at every which way. So like you have like the non-drinkers who don't drink, but they're caffeine addicted and their husbands like watch porn every night. Then you have the moms who smoke a blunt when they're in the garage when their kids go to bed. And then you have the moms that drink the bottle of wine and everyone is judging everyone. And everyone's yelling at each other and thinks their way is the best way.
Right.
And I'm just like, I don't want to hang out with any of you. So I'm going to be with her.
That sounds scary. I will gladly...
Oh, I can't wait till we are in that season of your life and you get to see the clicks because that'll bring it to a whole new level of gossip for us.
That I genuinely can't.
Yeah. Just worry about yourself at the end of the day. The normal theme of all our podcast episodes is worry the F about you, your house, your marriage, your kids, your life, and stop throwing shade at everyone else. The world would be a much better place if we actually worked on ourselves and not tried to micromanage everyone else around us. Like
that's
your
really what
drinking and your substance abuse or lack thereof is a relationship and reflection of you and you alone. So like stop making excuses.
Yeah.
And like I don't know I want to say grow up, but like you know, I'm 37. I don't know.
It's a very thorough conversation to have and a scary one, I think, for a lot of people to be honest with themselves. And I think that's why it gets avoided a lot. And I think it's really interesting because there's a lot of people that I can think of a few, even in the beauty space that will come forward later and be like, I was literally an alcoholic. And like, that's crazy because
you didn't even know. Yeah, there was someone I saw recently that's a mom and an influencer, and she came out and made a reel, and she was like showing times that I was following her, and she was like, I was drinking, I was drunk, and that's powerful though when people come out.
I agree, and I think it's amazing. And it takes a lot of bravery because I'm sure it's embarrassing, and I'm sure it's I mean, even if you're proud of how far you've come, like it's shameful. Like even if no one else shames you for it, it's still embarrassing. And I mean, I definitely like respect that, and I think that that says a lot about you as a person. The fact that you were honest with yourself and then shared it with the whole internet. So I think again, it's a very open-ended conversation. We just wanted to be honest and real, and literally this is again a conversation we've had many times. So we'll keep you guys posted.
I have the best thing to close it with. Okay. I've been saying this all the fucking time lately. If you want to see how much control something has over you, try to fast from it. So if it's wine, if it's social media, if it's like, if you take anything from this open-ended conversation that we're having and you want to see, is there something in my life that's consuming me and it's hindering my potential and breaking cycles, try to fast from it. And that's the only time you can see how much it has control over you. And you know, I'm a big fast girly over here, and that's what I teach all my clients. Like, damn, that hit me like right here. So yeah. Well,
I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. I know it's definitely a heavier topic for a lot of people. So if you stayed this long, thank you for listening to us yap and just be honest about this. We love you. We love you guys. And if there's anything you want us to speak about or talk about or give our opinion about or our stories about, just either DM us or leave it. I think on Spotify now you can actually leave comments. So that's comments. New. But YouTube is where we've been popping off. So make sure you're following the Sisters Show on YouTube, because obviously it's funny to watch us because we're pretty funny. We're pretty funny people. And we just love you guys so much. I'm grateful for this community, and we really have missed doing this. So we're so glad to be back and coming at full force. We're back indefinitely. And we love you guys so much. We'll see you next week.